All right, everybody. This is my post-market wrap-up on this Friday, March 29th, 2019. And yes, I'm not wearing a tie. Let's talk about this this day. It was truly epic, and I hope you did not miss the big one. And we're going to talk about what that was in a moment. So, closing bell went off about 10 seconds ago. Stocks finished higher across the board. No real shocker here. The shocker, or the big one today, came out of the mouth of none other than Larry Kudlow. Now, I want to put a perspective on this that I hope makes sense to you. As you are more than likely aware, at least I hope so, every effort imaginable and things we can't even dream about are being put forth to prop up the stock market. At all costs. I've explained this to you over and over again. Well, today it seems like the groundwork is being set up for something, and we need to talk about it. Very stock market positive. However, it's going to, of course, be sucked straight out of the middle class. Look, it's always the middle class that pays, but never on this scale before. We understand what happened, the last meltdown, 2007, 2008. The middle class was called on to bail out Wall Street, bail out the banks, nearly $1 trillion. Okay, and how did the middle class get repaid? Well, let's see. People got kicked out of their homes. The banks bought the homes from these people that after they kicked them out into the street, repropped up a housing bubble. Now those toxic assets are not toxic anymore. They can sell them at an enormous profit. The middle class is now bearing the burden of a debt bubble, the likes of which has never been seen before. Nothing even comes close in the history of the world. The middle class, unfortunately, is earning interest less than the actual rate of inflation on their interest earning accounts because rates are being suppressed now for an entire decade. So Larry Kudlow today came out live on CNBC and said that the Federal Reserve should cut rates 50 basis points immediately. Now, what does that mean? Just real quick. It means that interest earning accounts will earn even less than they do now. It's grand theft from the middle class on an unimaginable scale. Yeah, cutting rates here would boost the stock market. There is no doubt about it. We're pulling this out of the future. In other words, the middle class is being forced to subsidize the stock market. That's the truth. There's no other way to put it. Now, please don't flip out on me for what I'm about to say. Larry Kudlow said that President Trump wants the Federal Reserve to keep their balance sheet inflated. Now, okay, also extremely stock market positive, but where does that interest come from? Look, the interest on the debt gets sucked out of you, and this is how it's done. It's a bizarre scheme. So the Federal Reserve has trillions on their balance sheet, which earns interest. Interest that they print out of thin air and put on your back, on the back of the middle class. It's an amazing thing. So between Larry Kudlow, who is implicating the president here, they want the middle class, or you, to subsidize the stock market, push it higher, and be robbed blind at the same time. Doesn't that sound like a great plan? Where do I sign up for that? I'm not making this up. It should make absolute sense to you, the way I just laid it out. It's a frightening prospect. It honestly is, that we are in an environment where all that matters is the stock market moving higher. Let me put another perspective on this for you. Markets are supposed to run in cycles, booms and busts, booms and busts. That's a normal market. Not anymore. Now it's higher, 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 higher while the middle class is subsidizing it. We've been subsidizing it. The middle class has been subsidizing the stock market since the Federal Reserve initially started with quantitative easing 1. Quantitative easing 1, suppressing rates, robbing the middle class, forcing cash into the stock market. Larry Kudlow wants to take this to a new level right now. Just when rates are starting to kind of normalize, no. He wants a 50 basis point cut immediately, and now implicates the president said, no, the Fed needs to keep its balance sheet inflated. No quantitative tightening, that's what it's called. So the Federal Reserve will earn more interest. I think the Federal Reserve really does want to unwind its balance sheet and raise rates here because they're going to get hung. Understand. The blame is going to be shifted here at one particular point, but you have to understand that the plan here, according to Larry Kudlow, is to push the market higher by having the middle class subsidize it, subsidize the interest on the debt that's on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Instead of that money or that cash going into social programs, something to make the middle class life better, now it has to go to paying interest on the debt. At the same time, being robbed blind if you have an interest earning account. Now, I'd be willing to bet that a fraction of you, maybe 1 or 2, honestly, out of the thousands that are going to watch this video, are going to have the guts to say something about it, maybe to their representative. It doesn't matter anymore. We don't matter anymore. Let me talk about how another thing that's being put into play here. So we all understand what's going on in the European Union, Brexit. They keep pushing it off, pushing it off, pushing it off. Look, the European Union was kind of like you should think of it this way, almost like a prelude for what they're trying to do. We have the European Union. They're going to set up other unions, like a North American Union, a South American Union. Then they're going to merge all this together to form a one world government. That's really the plan here. In order to make that happen, they have to create an extreme circumstance. For example, robbing the middle class blind, have it get so bad that they look for a solution, any kind of a solution. And we've seen this throughout history. So that's what the plan is, working perfectly. Larry Kudlow is in on it, quite obviously. The President of the United States is quite in on it, obviously. Every world leader is doing the same thing. That's their goal, to bring the world together under a one world government. Be distracted by walls, by other issues that they want to throw in front of your face to keep you angry, to keep you divided, because that's how they're able to do it, by distracting people. And this is why I'm going to urge you once again to stop, turn off your TV. That's number one. Stop watching the garbage that they're fist feeding you. All it's going to do is keep you in a state of despair, a state of learned helplessness. That's what they want. It's a real thing. Learned helplessness. Look it up. I did practice medicine for 20 years. I think I have a little bit of a perspective on how these things work. Turn off every single YouTube channel that you might follow that is trying to divide you. Democrats, Republicans. They're in on it too. It's the truth. They want to keep you split. Focus on this. Don't look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is pretty obvious. It should be to you. And I think most of you get it here. But hearing it come out of Larry Kudlow's mouth today, how they are forcing the middle class in a covert way to subsidize the stock market. Look, they know what's coming down the pike. They want you to ignore the yield curve. The yield curve is telling us things are not looking so good. So they're going to suck the cash out of the middle class to keep the stock market propped up. And then when they're ready, there goes the plug, wealth transfer, middle class no longer exists. We need a solution. We need a solution. Well, guess what? They're going to have one for you. And it will not be in your favor. So look for more unions around the world to be formed. It's going to start out small, and it's going to grow till it engulfs the entire world. That's the plan. That's the bigger plan here. bring the middle class to their knees through backdoor mechanisms, have them subsidize the stock market just like we're doing now, and keep them distracted. Make them look in nonsensical places. Get their blood boiling. Get them fired up so they can't see. Take off the blindfold, all right? And you'll understand this a lot more clearly. All right. Did I cover anything important here? Do people need to hear this? Please share this video. If you are on my team, if any of this just rang a bell with you, please share this video. Get it out there. Spread it far and wide. I'm counting on you to do that. Now, with that said, it's Friday. People, you know what I'm going to say? We need each other more than ever, especially after what came out of Kudlow's mouth today, the real plan. Love each other, care about each other, and be charitable. And this guy will see you on Sunday.